Welcome everybody to the Modern Day Woman Show. So today we have a very special topic, very hard topic, but we are going to be discussing baby loss awareness today, and it's a topic that I think kind of touches us all. We also have a really special guest and from the help of Tommy's called Louisa Jones. So she lost her baby, and she is now a campaigner for baby loss awareness. So we're so happy to have her come and speak with us later on in the show. But yeah, let's talk about this hard topic, ladies. We don't really know about baby loss until we experience it, because I've not really seen anything about it. I don't think it's talked about as much as it should have, but I know people that have lost a baby, and then, that's when you find out all the information. There's some factors as well. Like, what do we think?
I think it's a really, really sensitive subject, which is really common.
Yeah, and we're all mothers.
And
so we can all imagine what that must feel like.
It's more common than you think.
It is common, yeah.
With women as well, when you're dealing with the grief, sometimes you don't always want to talk about it or acknowledge it. I've experienced it. It's something that comes in waves. Yeah. Even after dealing with the emptiness, because that's the initial feeling when you lose a child, especially when you know you were pregnant. Yeah. Because there's times where if you haven't known, dealing with the grief is a little differently. But when you know you've had a child, it's this horrible emptiness feeling that even though your body changes and you start to adjust. And that emptiness feeling kind of goes, it's still that grief that comes every now and then.
Yeah,
completely.
I have this fact from Tommy's.org that actually 1 in 4 pregnancies end in loss, and 9 babies are still born each day in the UK. There were 3,200 stillbirths in 2017.
Wow.
That's just heartbreaking. And as to why miscarriage actually happens, too often health professionals are not able to tell women why this actually happens, and most settle that it was just meant to be.
I think that's the most heartbreaking part, because if there's not a particular reason, whether it's like a health reason, you're gonna take that as, oh my god, have I done something wrong?
Absolutely.
What did I do?
I get so because I work with women, I do pre and postnatal, so I have a lot of women that reach out to me and tell me I've lost my baby, and was it because I exercised too hard in the beginning, and having gone through a miscarriage myself before my Rainbow Jackson arrived. There's just nothing. There's nothing you have done. I will tell the people that reached out to me or my friends, it was never. I do believe it's never anything to do with what you have done at all. It's just, and like it's stated on there, health professionals are telling you that we don't actually have the research to tell us why. This is happening.
Do you think us having I think a lot of people talk about statistics though, but I think people should talk about their real story. You know what I mean? If people talk about their own experience, I think it would inform people that have not really gone through it or don't really know about it. Rather than hearing facts and figures. Because I think then you'll understand someone's journey or what happened to them. Maybe that that happened to me, and then I think it's like a conversation that needs to be had once people feel ready to talk about it. Because I think it will inform
other people.
If I didn't know about my friends' stories about miscarriage, I wouldn't have known that I miscarried with my first child. It was only because I was like, something is not right. This pain is not right. It's not normal. I know my body. This is not that kind of pain. So I was speaking to my friends that had the experience, and when they told me, it was exactly the same. And then I did the test, then I found out. And
but then that's why I think why isn't there more information out there? The same with cervical cancer and stuff. There's always, they give you things to look out for. Breast cancer, there's things to look out for. Surely there must be things to look out for.
I don't know. I think
in terms of like when you're pregnant, if you're feeling a certain
Oh,
way,
yeah,
like, do you know what I mean?
absolutely.
But
Yeah.
I don't know any of that personally.
You do get told.
Yeah, I was gonna say they do.
Do you
have
get
that
told when you're
information.
pregnant?
Yeah,
I did.
Well, they say
I googled it.
No. It's more like if something feels abnormal, because these are what you're gonna.
But
be
if this is
feeling
your
when you're
first pregnancy,
pregnant.
what
You
do
don't
you
know
know?
what's normal.
What is abnormal?
Yeah.
You don't really know what abnormal
And I
is.
think we
you
have
don't.
this kind of naive thinking that it's in the first 3 months, and then after that,
You're fine.
it's all we're fine.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
You
is
know what I
that.
mean? It's just
Yeah.
they're a risk the whole way through.
And also that I have to like say we have this, we have this 12-week window. We have this 12-week window of what's like keep it a secret. Don't tell
Yeah.
anybody. Why are we still doing that? I do not know, because they are the hardest. It's one of the hardest parts in pregnancy. And then imagine you within those 12 weeks, you've not told a soul because you're not supposed to, and then you have a miscarriage, and then you've not told anyone, so no one knows what you're going through.
Yeah.
It's just, I just
So do you
think
then tell someone that you was?
I really think like you should tell people as soon as you're pregnant. Tell people, the more support you have around you, the better. You need to be heard in that situation. You need someone to just say,
Yeah.
"Are you okay?"
Yeah.
Even if you feel like uncomfortable talking, like, or you break down crying about it, it's
Yeah.
okay to do that.
Yeah.
Or
no,
who you think
completely.
is genuine in your circle. Like, if you have genuine friends that are gonna be there for you, the type of friend that's like, I'm feeling down today, they're gonna drive to your house to make sure you're okay. I
Yeah.
think those are the type of people, because sometimes we think, this person's gonna be there for us, and then they're not, and you still have to go through that whole process on your own.
Yeah.
But then I guess we have to think about the mothers that have gone through this multiple times.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I guess it's the pain and going
Yeah.
through it and telling people, oh, I'm pregnant, and then
and then it,
reliving
Yeah.
that
I
experience.
don't know
So
how.
That's why possibly they
But then-
keep it quiet.
But then
So
also
sad.
it's like, we talk about the mothers, but there is the fathers on the other side, and
Yeah.
it's not really
Yeah.
spoken about
it's
from
not.
a man's point of view. I
not.
think we just expect them to just get on because obviously they're not carrying a child, but so
Yeah.
you kind of think, oh, they don't really get it, but it's still their child.
It's still a
Yeah.
loss for them as
It's
well.
still a
Yeah,
loss for them.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like how, we're dealing with our emotions, but how do we help them deal with theirs as well?
I think it's being
know.
respectful about how they grieve.
Yeah.
That's what I've had to learn.
Talk
Just
about it.
be accepting about how he grieves is different to how I grieve.
Yeah.
And then having that understanding and
But
being
do you
able
not
to support
grieve
each other.
together?
You can, but it's how you're doing it.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah. Because
It's
some couples
different.
can fall apart, or some couples
Exactly.
can really come together.
Yeah.
Some couples can fall into a depression.
Yeah.
And I know there is a couple right now that I'm watching. I don't know if you guys watch the documentary Black Love. No, it's really, really good anyway. But they are on talking about their past experiences, and there's a couple who lost their baby, and their depression separated them. But eventually they got back together.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
They spoke
Good.
about it,
Yeah.
how they felt moving forward. This is what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
And now they got 2 beautiful little girls.
yeah.
So,
Wow.
But I wonder if it affects you differently if it's like your first child, or if you've got kids and then you have a miscarriage and you lose your baby.
It's
How
the
do you,
same
because
way.
you're dealing
different.
with your own kids as well, and they probably know about the pregnancy and they're
Yeah,
probably
'cause
excited
they see
about it,
mummy's
and then
belly
you
and
have to tell them.
everything. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like
That
is-
happened to my mum actually. She had, after me, with her new partner, she had a miscarriage at 17 weeks.
Yeah.
And I think, I found out recently, I think she had to give birth to him. I don't, when it's a certain...
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she had my little sister, and after that, shortly after, she had another miscarriage.
Oh wow.
So it was for her, it was, I don't understand. This
Yeah.
is, why have I had one healthy child, one great pregnancy between two of them?
Yeah.
It's hard. When it's unexplainable, it's hard because when you're a mum,
want
you
the
want to,
answers.
like,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
I'm pregnant, I miscarry, if I lose the child, I need to know every detail. I'm obsessive.
Yeah.
I need to know when my 5-month scan would be, when the due date is. Was it a girl? Is it a boy? You question all of these things.
Yeah.
But I
So-
think when you do have miscarriages, if you do have early pregnancy units, so you can actually just go in for a walk in and get a scan. And I remember when I finally got pregnant again, I was there quite a lot.
Yeah.
He was like, and the doctor reassured me. He said it's okay. Like, you're not supposed to go there all the time, but if that's the reassurance you need to see that heartbeat or to see something or to be on top of your like health professional, go there. And if at any point you're feeling something's not right, listen to your body and get yourself to where you need to get to.
Yeah. And I guess maybe some people also like going through it may feel embarrassed that they've lost a baby. And like if it's like multiple, like from the outside, how do you support someone that's going through that? Like I don't know what words you could say to support someone going through multiple miscarriages or multiple stillbirths. That's like, but it's not spoken about enough. Because I think if it was spoken about enough, we'd all be comfortable to speak about it. To be able to help.
Becoming like more out there. I see it because of my profession. I'm definitely in that loop quite a lot, and people tell me a lot of stuff, and then they get pregnant, and it's like
amazing.
So clean. Like it's, and then I get to like do the journey with them, and the journey after. It's amazing. So it's just like, you know, just about taking care of yourself and really looking. Just believing that one day, you know, if you are having those multiple miscarriages, that
there's light at the end of the tunnel.
There is light. Absolutely.
Don't give up.
So we have Louisa Jones joining us on the panel today. Now, baby loss is incredibly traumatic thing to go through, and having that mixed with the need and longing of still wanting a child, trying to structure in, okay, when's the right time to try for another baby? I mean, in your opinion, when would be a time that would feel right for you to start trying again?
It's a thought, to be honest, that enters your head even when you're going through the actual loss of having your baby, and whether it be miscarriage or stillbirth. And then it's a period of waiting when you sort of know medically when is right, and then after it's medically okay, it's then about being emotionally okay. And no one can really say when that is. It can be a case of saying, no, this is too much, I'm done, to then maybe 2-3 years later, you know what, I want to try again. It really does depend on how you're feeling, how you're dealing with the grief, the support that you receive throughout that, and really what is going on in the background medically as well. I really feel that.
Quite a few layers to work through.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's no right or wrong. It just really does come down to how you feel.
And as soon as you're like able to, it's okay to actually get trying straight away. That's perfectly okay to do
definitely.
that.
So are there, because you mentioned medical, are there medical factors that, what are they? Because someone like I wouldn't necessarily know, and someone watching wouldn't necessarily know. So what would like the medical factors be?
There can be so many medical factors. Unfortunately, 50% it falls to where it's actually unknown why the loss is, and then the other 50% can be due to, I don't know, blood clotting disorders, genetic reasons, smoking and pregnancy. There can be, if you've had miscarriages before, it can bring on the chance of having another loss as well. So there's so many different reasons, and usually after you have a loss, you work with a consultant or a GP, and they will go through with you how you want to sort of proceed, whether you want to look into the reasons why you've lost, if you want to try again for another child, and offer you different tests if you'd like. It depends also whether you've had children before, whether you haven't. There's just, it really, every case is so unique.
So what was your situation? Sorry, Cheryl. What was, if you could explain to us
mine.
What you went through.
So I have a healthy 7-year-old boy. We had him in 2012, and me and my husband decided when he was 2 to start trying again for a sibling. And in 2014 I had 2 early miscarriages, about 5 7 weeks. And then I fell pregnant in 2015. And everything seemed fine. The support around the early miscarriages was very minimal because it was just so early.
Right.
Obviously it affected us, and we did, think, what if, but it did. Then when we read about the statistics, like 1 in 4, it made sense. So then I fell pregnant, and we got to 32 weeks, and then I had a stillbirth with my daughter Sienna. And again, it was very, these things happen, bad luck, would you like to send her away for a post-mortem, see if there's any sort of reasoning behind it? And because in my mind at the time, you think, right, okay, these things happen.
Wow.
I didn't send her away for a post-mortem and decided to lay her to rest and go through, try and get through the grief as much as we could, and then try again when it was right for us, which we did do, and we decided to try again about 3 months later. Fell pregnant again very quickly, and then I suffered a 23.5 week loss, just on the cut-off to stillbirth, and her name was Lexi. And at that point it was obviously going through the pregnancy was very emotional anyway because of the stillbirth that I had with Sienna. That was just, it was numbing. That's the only way that I can describe it. And obviously we did decide we want Lexi sent away for a post-mortem, because 2 stillbirths, you're like, something's going on, something's... not right. So we did that, and in the meantime, because you have to wait about 10 weeks for the results, and we said our goodbyes, and we laid her to rest as well with her sister. And in the meantime, I had tests, blood tests and bits and pieces. There was no genetic reasoning because we had a healthy boy, me and my husband before, so there was nothing there. My consultant was absolutely amazing. He sort of led by me, and I was just this, frantic person, just trying to get everything necessary, in place. So if we wanted to try again, that I could. So I was just waiting for the call from the to say that the post-mortem results, and then I'd go from there and be like, right, okay, this is what we need to do for a healthy pregnancy. Lo and behold, the results came. No reason found, and that was the most devastating thing, because you need to place blame. You need to be able to grieve properly and know why. Exactly. But there was none. And that's when I turned. I turned into this a bit of a mad person, going online, checking every little thing. It was difficult. We just kept on going through different, scenarios, different things, and all the whilst grieving for our 2 girls, because it was in such close, proximity to each other, and also wondering, they were both girls, maybe I can't have girls, Speaking to my consultant, he soon, put that idea to rest. He said your body doesn't actually know, at the point of pregnancy, what the sex is and stuff. But then everybody that supported me as well had their sort of opinions and reasons, and they told me it's probably because you can't carry girls, which was quite, demeaning at the time.
Of course.
Having my consultant saying, no, that's not anything to do with it. People who not even in a medical background telling me this. But you sort of have to not shut your mouth, but just be like, I'm going to deal with this the way that I want to deal with it. And we fell pregnant again quite soon after. And oh my God, the pregnancy was the most emotional thing for me and my husband to ever go through. We nearly split up. Usually it's about 90% of bereaved couples usually split up over stillbirth, just because of the grief. They can never match it, and it's very, very hard to support each other in that time. We got through it, barely, and I didn't find out the sex of the baby. I had a lot of support during the way, and I was induced at 36 weeks, and I had a baby girl. Alicia. She's my rainbow baby girl, and she is now 20 months.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, no, we got there.
Do you know what? I just want to put out there that I commend you.
Honestly.
Yeah.
What a woman.
I mean, wow, you're like a soldier.
To keep going, honestly.
To keep on going and emotionally going through something like that, because when you're pregnant, you go through all these emotions. And like, it's just a lot to deal with. So for you to go through that so many times, I mean, hands up to you.
Honestly.
Thank you very much.
Honestly.
I think also people forget about the whole physical side of it as well. I mean, you've got a massive mental side, but really, Alicia, my latest, was my 7th pregnancy.
Wow.
You know, so I had been pregnant from 2014 through to 2017.
You know, when you put it like that, it really does just put it all into perspective.
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of people sort of don't realise, you know, and that's constant. And your hormones don't ever leave ever really leave your body. And I have also discovered as well, every loss, part of that baby's blood will always stay inside you as well, which is really amazing, really comforting as well.
That is amazing.
Wow. Yeah, definitely.
So was there anything like throughout the process that really helped you, like that it was like your go-to in terms of support? Like, is it a person or was it an organisation like that kind of pushed you through, or was it yourself? Like,
it was speaking to people who'd actually been through stillbirth. And I could just explain how I was feeling, and they just got it. And I just think that's really, really important, you know, to be able to share that. That's why we're trying to raise awareness so badly, so people can talk about it and just feel like that they've got that connection and that they're not alone. Everyone's so unique, but that feeling of loss, regardless of whether it be early miscarriage, mid or late, it's the same. It's that loss. So it would be speaking to different people who'd been through the same sort of experiences as me.
What about your husband? Like, how did he? Was there any avenues that he kind of?
It's really, really sad for men. There's hardly anything. They're really trying to get groups together. So you know, bereaved parents, bereaved men can go through and discuss this. But when I lost my first baby, Sienna, unfortunately, about 10 minutes after we were told that there was no heartbeat, he was turned to by one of the professionals and actually said, "You're the person who needs to own this now and tell everybody around you." And I was inconsolable at that point, so I didn't really even hear what was said. So he just took over, and he was this massive support to me. And obviously took over telling my child, my stepdaughter as well, and just took over completely. So he never got to grieve at the beginning like I did. So his grief came later, you know, in waves, and that's where we didn't sort of match. I was grieving in different ways, he was grieving in different ways.
And your body is also actually dealing as if you've given birth to a baby.
Well, you are giving birth to a baby. So I still need to go through. That's it. You need to go through that process, which obviously you don't want to go through that process when you're told your baby's died. But and everyone says, "Oh, if I was put in that situation, I'd just beg for a C-section." It's just like, well, your body needs to. The grieving process can only really happen when your body, you know, releases and gives birth to that baby. And in regards to that baby, you know, it still needs to do that.
You just don't know unless you're in that situation.
No, not at all.
You just don't know.
Of course you don't. And both times I wanted, you know, as soon as I found out, I was like, no, I want to have the baby. No, I want to have the baby now. I want a C-section. But, you know, it took 2 days, the process. I was given a tablet, and then, you know, you give birth to it. And I'm so glad that it happened that way, because in my mind, I needed that 2 days to process everything that was going to happen, you know, and make memories, decide how I wanted to make memories.
Of course. So how did your husband kind of express himself and grieve?
He very shut off, you know. anger sometimes. There's only really been once where I've seen him break down hysterically and just cry. And I held him. I mean, it's just very difficult because people approach him in a different way. So he just feels like none of his work people would come up to him, and just give him a hug and go, I'm sorry, about everything that you've been through. They just looked at him and just said, I'm sorry for your loss, and then just walked away. And it was just like, how? It just doesn't make sense. There needs to be that stigma.
We forget about the men. We do forget about the men.
Yeah, and they've lost a child as well,
Because it's definitely emotional for them as well.
Exactly.
We just think because they don't go through it physically, kind of overlook the emotional aspect of it. And it's hard enough for men to emotionally open up, especially when you don't make space and support for them as well.
Exactly.
And what about your son? So how did you manage the process with him? Because I guess he's feeling everything.
That's it. That was one of the first, when my son was 3 at the time, and that was one of the main things that I remember feeling was, how the hell am I going to tell my 3-year-old? How? Because obviously the bump was massive, and how do I explain this to my stepdaughter as well, And
how old was she?
She must have been about 7 at the time.
She's a little bit older, so she's more aware.
Yeah.
How did they take it?
We learned through a support booklet that we have to be incredibly honest. Be really careful with the words that you use, because they hang on this. They're they're looking at you to understand this stuff. So we had to be very honest and say, your baby sister has died, and she's not with us anymore. Would you like to see her? What would you like to do? We're going to lay her to rest. She's going to go to heaven. She's going to become a star, and sort of explain it in them sort of realms. But we really wanted to be careful and not say she was born sleeping or she was sick, because we didn't know any of this stuff.
Exactly.
So you've just got to explain
and you're right, children hold on to stuff.
Definitely.
Stuff that we don't even realise sometimes, especially at a young age as well.
Definitely. So. They're very, impressionable, and completely. They just take everything on. So
completely.
He, my son and my stepdaughter, they dealt with it so well, and they were very supportive, and we just wanted to make them, so reassured that it was okay to be upset, because they saw us be upset all the time. They didn't. A lot of the time, they just got a bit quite nervous, a bit smiley and a bit giggly, but they felt it as well. They, reassured that. We were upset, and we were upset for a reason.
So this part of the show, we go through the questions that you guys had for Louisa in regards to baby loss awareness. So let's start with Charlene. What is the first question?
First question. So this is from Nano0387. And the question is, what is the best thing a friend or family member or colleague could say to you following the loss of your baby?
Good question.
Very good. Would you like to talk about your baby? I'm here for you, and I'm very sorry of your loss. And hugging is very, very good as well, because it just lets you release any emotion that you need to.
Yeah.
Do you think they should ask if they could hug you though?
Yeah, definitely, because sometimes it's not appropriate. I think it's really comes down to reading body language as well, which is quite hard to do in some situations, especially for women and people who haven't been through it themselves. But I think if you have, you sort of go on the cues, you know whether you can, you can't.
I think if it's like your best friend as well.
You hug them.
I personally think to check in, you said it in the first month, but maybe check in 3 months down the line. Or even just
check in.
Well, it never stops.
Keep checking in.
The grief will never stop.
Yeah.
So it's always nice to be asked, and always nice
How
to.
you feeling?
Definitely.
I definitely think that's a point, asking permission though, because sometimes you don't want to talk about it. Sometimes you're not ready to talk about it.
That's it. It's a very private sort of matter.
This is from King Ba. Can this be a genetic thing in the genes, a pattern?
It definitely can be. After baby loss, you usually do have a meeting with an obstetric consultant who will go through the sort of medical conditions that could underlie loss of a baby at any gestation. And it can be down to genetic genes and chromosome abnormalities as well.
Can I ask, is that a new thing?
No.
I never had that follow-up to like to someone.
Yeah,
I never.
They don't really tend to look into it in regards to early miscarriages because it's very, very difficult to get any sort of tissue. And because they are so common, it's 1 in 4 as well. Yeah, it's a lot.
You just wouldn't have. There's just not the funding to even do that.
No, that's it. And I think they don't really even go into it until you've had 3 early miscarriages as well.
Right,
so, yeah.
Okay, this is from Mariam _2270. What advice would you give to other parents in helping their other children cope with the loss of their brother or sister?
As I said before, I think it just really comes down to honesty. Just have to be honest as much as you can, and just explain that it's very, very okay to just display emotion. Whether you feel angry about it, which a lot of children will do, upset about it, and just be able to just making sure that they know it's okay to talk about it and be open. That's the worst thing that anyone can do is sort of make their children feel that they can't talk about it or be scared of talking about it, because they need to just have questions answered, and stuff.
They're quite forward about things like that, aren't
and
they?
very resilient as well,
Because they can't. I do think they help. Like, if you've had a death or something, they ask questions that maybe other people won't ask, which I find. Maybe that's a bit like therapeutic for you.
Oh, 100%.
They probe, don't they? Especially when they get into that questions.
Talking therapy.
That's so true,
My son was one of my rocks, and getting through, and he doesn't even know it.
No.
Yeah.
Because they sense it as well, and they'll hug you.
Yeah.
And you, and you just...
They are, yeah.
Okay. This is from Tilly Flow 3. I recently lost a baby and feel resentment towards other women. Is that normal?
Oh, 100%, yeah. There's definitely a stage where you don't want to see another pregnant woman, hear announcements, births, because your emotions and everything that you're going through is paramount, it's just totally normal, and I think it just needs to be understood that if you do lose a baby, and if it be early miscarriage or stillbirth or whatever, you need to be respected to be able to do whatever you need to do to get through that grief. And as long as people around you respect that, they should.
That's a really important one.
Final question would be fly_with me. How do you keep the memory of your baby alive whilst trying to move forward?
That's a good question.
There is, within my job, I'm a bereavement care maternity assistant now, so one of my jobs is being able to show bereaved parents how they can make memories and cherish their loved ones that they've lost. And there's so many options now, whereas before, even just a few years ago, there isn't. There's volunteer photographers who will actually come and do a shoot for your baby free of charge. Laying your baby to rest, I believe that recently that has been changed, so there's no more fees.
Good.
You can just lay your baby to rest and without worry about the cost of things.
Good.
Making outfits for them, that was one of the things that I done. The necklace that I'm wearing, my daughter's actually got a matching one in her grave with her. Just so many little things, taking handprints and footprints,
Yeah.
lots of photos, and celebrating their memory by celebrating their birthday, you know,
Yeah.
doing a cake and sending balloons up, and just there's so many different ways.
I think that would be very therapeutic to send.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's
And
important to do that.
it
Sometimes
is.
people feel like, no, just shut it off, don't think about it. Out of sight, out of mind, that's how you process it. But you know what? Sometimes keeping a picture, scan picture, anything that you need to,
Yeah.
just to honour that pregnancy.
So I've got so many pictures in my bedroom, you know, and any of my friends, if they, which they have done, asked to see photos of my babies, and it's so refreshing that somebody is actually asking that, and and I do, because I want to share her. You know, she was a beautiful baby, a normal baby. You know, unfortunately, just born dead, and. You know, that's the stigma that I think that we sort of need to lift, is that we need to be able to talk about it, you know, and talk and say their names, and you know, and cherish them, and light candles for them, and do whatever we want to do to just keep their memory alive.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Amen to that. So this part of the show, we normally give our tips and solutions about the topic we're speaking about, but because of the topic today, we think it's best that Louisa gives her tip and advice for anyone that might be struggling or going through a miscarriage or stillbirth. Louisa's probably the best person to advise you. So, Louisa.
Okay. I think it's the best tip that I could give is just sort of be true and honest to yourself. Any feelings that you have, whether it be anger, whether you're upset, just allow yourself to feel those feelings and don't feel shamed, you know, don't feel embarrassed, don't place blame. It can be very, very hard not to do so, but you just need to be able to take that time to process everything. With pregnancy hormones within your body, it can be very, very hard to do that. But you just need to take every day as it comes and just realise that it will get easier. It won't ever go away, but it will get easier, and yeah, I can promise that.
Coming from my own experience, I definitely looked within myself and felt like I blamed myself for my miscarriage, and I really, really believe that it's not to do with what we have done. And I really want to put that out there, because I get a lot of messages and on my social media feed, and they state that they feel to blame for their miscarriages, and this is not the case. I really feel that to move forward, you need to take your blame away from yourself. And there is light at the end of the tunnel. You will have that rainbow baby. As seen on the show, she was an amazing, strong woman who continued and pushed through, and now she has a beautiful baby girl. There absolutely is light. So if you are one of those people that are suffering or going through or have been through and you want to try again, there is light and it will happen. Just look after yourself and be strong. There are some amazing organisations, and thank you for the organisation that worked with us today at Tommies.org. They are a brilliant organisation. Thank you for watching today's show. Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, our Twitter and our Instagram.